Good day, students. I welcome you to another class, and I hope you enjoyed the last class. And it is expected that any question should be dropped in the comment section so that I can address it accordingly. So in this class, as I said in the last lecture, that we are going to be looking at maintenance budgets. We are going to be looking at maintenance budgets. So here, there are three things we need to consider. There are three things we need to consider. The first one is a maintenance budget, as I said earlier. Then the second one is the service level agreement, which is our SLA. SLA. Then the last aspect is our asset management. Asset management. So we are going to be looking comprehensively into the financial planning, the performance agreement, and the life cycle management in building maintenance. In building maintenance. So by introduction, building maintenance budgets, building maintenance budgets, service level agreement, and asset management. They form the basis for our what facility management. You know, I told you in the last lecture that when looking at building maintenance generally, we are looking beyond just the bricks and mortar. We are also considering the facilities um, that are in operation in a building. So these three things forms the modern basic facility management. They form the modern basic facility management. So these three things are the major concepts that we are going to be looking out for, because we can't be talking about maintenance budget and not factoring our SLA and also factoring our asset management. And the essence of bringing these three concepts together is to ensure that our maintenance operation is efficient and reduces the long-term cost in order to manage the finance very well, while also complying with what? While also complying with regulatory requirements. So we need to understand each role so as to be able to merge these three together and then form a good a good facility management system. A good facility management system. So the first one we'll be considering is the maintenance budget. Maintenance budget. So we'll be asking ourselves that so when we talk about maintenance budget, what does it entails? As the name implies, budget, it has to do with what? Financial resources. It has to do with planned allocation of what? Of financial resources that is used to maintain our facilities, equipment, and building system. So in a way, it is expected that we have like an outline estimated cost. We have an outline estimated cost that is expected to be incurred in managing property. So when you are putting into consideration the financial aspects, then you are also maintaining what? The budget. So aside the fact that you are saddled with the responsibility of maintaining the facilities, maintaining the building, it is also expected that what you maintain all resources, which finance is what is part of them. And we should also know that in finance is the lifeblood of any real estate activities. So we should know that when building is put in shape, at the back of our mind, we should know that finance has gone inside. We should know that what finance is making it to work, making it to stand. Finance is what is running this building, is running this building in order to ensure what that our resources are what are well managed, are well managed. And then when we talk about the budgeting to ensure that resources are what they are available. They are available when there is need for repairs, our upgrades, our preventive tasks, even for emergency works also. It should be what they should be available because a well prepared budget, it helps to institute what decision making, it prioritize need and achieve a cost effective, even while ensuring our safety and then operational continuity. So this leads to why are we even having a maintenance budget? Why are we having um why are we having maintenance budgets? We are having the first one is to ensure that the available resources, there's available resources for what? For both our preventive and corrective actions to ensure that the building is what is up to the task, is up and doing. There is no breakdown, there is no uninterrupted, there is no interruption to the extent that a material will be needed, that is will now start running helter skelter. No, a facility manager must be able to manage that to ensure that all resources are what are available when actions are needed. And also, it helps to support preventive and predictive maintenance. It helps to prevent it helps to support preventive and predictive maintenance when things are adequately budgeted for. When preventive occurs, when predictive occurs, you notice that every of your activities will go on smoothly, and it also helps to control costs and avoid any financial stress, because you know that okay, you've done your budget already. Then in a way you will be rest assured that okay, probably if there is anything you need to cater for, it could be for your corrective or your emergency, but at least your budget should be able to support your what? Your preventive and your predictive maintenance, and also to control your costs so that you won't just be spending anyhow. You won't just be spending anyhow. And also your maintenance helps was to provide a basis for evaluating maintenance performance. You know, I said earlier that you don't use all the money you collect for rent on the maintenance. It is expected that if you give yourself a target of okay, the 10% or 20% of the rent should be used for maintenance. That standard should stand. It will give you an overview of I mustn't spend more than this. I mustn't go beyond this. So it shows if I'm shooting beyond this, it shows I'm not managing this finance very well. Or it shows that this building is not performing well if what I'm spending is more than what I'm realizing. So you should know that this building is performing below expectation. And why are we doing maintenance budget? Also just to inform a long-term capital planning. Some people can be like, okay, in the space of 5 months. Some people will be like, okay, in the space of 10 months. It makes them to plan, to plan, to plan, to ensure that as time goes on, the rate at which maintenance finance are incurred into maintenance will be relatively low compared to properties or facilities that are not well managed, or that are not well attended to. So this leads to the type of maintenance budget that we have. So the first one, we have our operating budget. We have our operating budget. So as the case implies, this is used for a day-to-day running expenses. Let me put it that way. A day-to-day running expenses, like is a daily thing that you need to do. For example, our daily tax, our minor repairs. A typical example would be for your cleaning, for your inspections. You can't say you won't be cleaning offices every day. No. Cleaning of offices falls under operating budgets, which shows that is a daily thing that is needed to be what? Needed to be done. Needed to be done. We should be under our what? Recurring expenses. Recurring expenses. So basically, this is needed to what? Just to keep the building system functioning. To keep the building system what? Functioning. Then there is another one we call the capital budget. The capital budget. So basically, this is a budget that is prepared for a major work to be done in a building, in terms of, oh, we want to do any upgrade, we don't want our building to be outdated so that it will still be relevant in the market, we need some refurbishment. You know that this is capital intensive. It requires what? More capital. It requires huge capital. So we can't compare our capital budget with what? With operating budget. Operating budget can just be, minimal. But when it has to do with capital, it shows that it requires what? A huge amount of money. A huge amount of money. Then the last one we'll be looking at is the emergency maintenance budget. Emergency maintenance budget. So we can liken this to miscellaneous, or unforeseen circumstances. There are some, there are some breakdown that will occur that you did not plan for. You did not plan for, and you can't shy away from the fact that they needed to be attended to. So there should be another budget prepared separately for unforeseen circumstances. So we call that budget emergency what? Emergency maintenance budget. So what are the components? What are the components of a maintenance budget? So the first one, as I said in the previous class, labor. I said labor should be what? At our fingertips. Every of our artisans, every of our professionals should be at our beck and call, so that if we need their services, it will be what? It will be easy for us to call upon them. It will be easy for us to engage their services. To the extent that even I know some people will be calling, and then when they know it's been a while you've called them, they will be like, oh, is there any work for us to do? Is there any job for us to do? That is the way it should be. You should have your own personal laborers that work for you. And the same thing with materials. Every material that is needed for maintenance should be what? Should be available. Every one of them should be available and should be stated expressly in what? A maintenance budget. The one you need to buy, the one that is short, the one that is still available, the one that is out of stock. The same thing with spare parts. Spare parts should be available. In a situation whereby you needed a standby equipment, or you needed just a temporary replacement, a spare part, it should be available. Or in case a boat remove, there should be a boat available to supplement temporarily pending the time you are going to get a new one. Then in maintenance budget also, we call there should be a room for equipment rentals, because we know that there are some cases whereby some of our equipment are not something we can acquire ourselves. So we can it's not a crime to rent such an equipment. So an equipment that that you don't have, then there should be a place for it, even in your budget, to state that, okay, we don't have this equipment now, but we have where we can rent it for this also amount. There should be room for that also. Then in terms of training, our professionals, the people that work for us, should be well trained. Especially the one that are not outsourced, the one that are insourced, like the one that are within the company, that work within the company. They should be well trained in whatever service you want to use there, especially our specialists. They should be well trained. they should be well trained. There should be a budget for them also for their own training, just to ensure that they are upgrading themselves. They are not outdated. They are not outdated. Also in our building maintenance budget also, there should be a place for safety compliance. Safety compliance. There should be a place for safety compliance. And also the last one is a contingency funds. Contingency fund. So in this aspect, this can also be likened to our miscellaneous. Our maintenance budget should contain what? Should contain our miscellaneous, our contingency fund. So we can say that these components are they must be accurately estimated. They must be accurately estimated in our budget, just to ensure that our budgeting is realistic, to avoid any form of overspending, to avoid resources source shortage. All this must be on point, must be on point. Then we have many methods of budgeting. We have methods of budgeting. Here, I only highlighted four for us that is peculiar to us. So the first one we'll be considering is the incremental budgeting. Incremental budgeting. Since we have budgeting, and I also want to establish the fact that budgeting should be done yearly, should be done annually, or we can say probably every 6 months. Before, it used to be yearly, but now that inflation is almost almost every three months, then you can say, okay, it can be biannual. It can be biannual. So when you are making an incremental budget, it shows that you are making improvement on the previous year's budget, just to make adjustment based on the increase in inflation or unexpected changes in our interest rate, and as the case may be. So you can make an incremental budget, which will be different from what was adopted last year. Just a little review of what was adopted last year. Then we have a zero-based budgeting. It shows that every expenses must be justified from scratch each year. You must be able to justify. So this method helps to eliminate unnecessary spending. It helps to eliminate unnecessary spending. So this one we are not increasing. We are not increasing. The basis is every money set aside, it is equals to what we spend. So there is no leftover for us to carry over to the previous year. For us to carry over to the previous year. Then we also have activity-based budgeting. We also have activities-based budgeting. So basically, this budgeting is based on the activities that are required for maintenance rather than the historical one. A practical example of this can be our refurbishment, our upgrading, because we know that our refurbishment cannot be every year. Our upgrading might not be every year. In a situation whereby we have any technological advancement, it shows that, we need to upgrade. So after you upgrade, you take a break a while to know, what is going to be in operation probably in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. So this is not something that is done all the time. It is not something that is done all the time. Then the last one is the condition-based budgeting. Condition-based budgeting. So this budgeting, your routine inspection, the report on your routine inspection will form the basis for this kind of budgeting. Fine, it is not part of the budget that you have before, but we can't shy away from the fact that, I went for an inspection, and at the end of the day, I noticed this should be done, this should be done. That one is based on condition. That one is based on your observation or during the routine inspection. So the budget you prepare will now be condition-based budgeting. will now be condition-based budgeting. So this leads us to the second aspect of this lecture, which talks about the service legal agreement, our SLA, our SLA. So in property management, there is something called tenancy agreement. So in facility management also, this is called a service level agreement, which shows contract between a service provider and the client. It shows that the outline services that is expected of a building should be expressly stated, should be well communicated, and should be formal, should be written, duly written, with not big grammar, with English that is well understandable. That when anybody picks it, they will pick, read, and understand. Basically, we are doing this just to ensure that our services, there is quality in delivery services for proper accountability, and also to measure our performance So there are some key components of our SLA. There are some key components of our SLA. The first one is the scope of services. Every services that are needed in a building should be listed, should be well spelled out. Let me know what I am into. Let me know what I'm even servicing. So this has to do with list of all the tasks that the provider will be responsible for. You are responsible for cleaning, plumbing check, elevator maintenance, HVAC services, as the case may be. Building peculiarities have their own services, which they are to be well spelled out. So each parties will know that, okay, this is what we are doing in the building. And also performance standards. Your SLA should contain your performance standards, which shows that where the time for routine inspection, the responses you get from emergency maintenance, when you start a repair, when it is being completed, when you have a service uptime requirement. Every of your performance standards should be well stated. Every of your building your service code should be well stated. Then the third part of it is the key performance indicator. So an example of that is the number of breakdown per month. You should be able to measure that. Okay, our facilities, how often are we even attending to them in a month? Do we even have any reason to service any? Do we even know when it breaks down? How often does it break down? So this is like a check and balances to know how are you operating? How have you been attending to this? How have we been attending to this? And also it's in a way it gives room for system uptime percentage, just for you to know how your facilities are performing generally, how they are performing generally. Then we have what we call the roles and responsibility. The roles and responsibilities. It should be just like the tenancy agreement. The responsibility of the landlord is always stated. Then the responsibility of the tenant is also stated. So the same thing is applicable to SLA too. The responsibility of the provider will be stated. The responsibility of the client will also be stated. And also we have what we call penalties and incentives. Penalties and the incentive. Well, it should be stated expressly in SLA that when maintenance are not well attended to, what is expected of such a building. Penalty should be applied for every underperformer building. It should be expressly stated. while incentives should be what? Should be applied to any building that is what? That is performing well. That is performing well. Then the last one we'll be looking at is the duration and the renewal terms. It should be stated, the duration and renewal terms, or the agreement we have, is it going to be a yearly agreement or subject to renewal? Do I need to show interest in a renewal, or do I need to state it that, okay, if I'm okay with your services, then we can renew this agreement? Or is it just a one-off agreement? It should be what? It should be well stated. Should be well stated. So what are the importance of this SLA in maintenance? In maintenance, it helps to reduce, the first one is it helps to reduce ambiguity in contracts. So when we have this document, it simplifies our work. I know I know my role, you know your role. I know when to attend. I know when to not to show up. I know when my contracts begin. I know when it's terminated. I know everything that is needed. It makes it what? Simple. When it is formal, you are not cracking your head on, oh, what am I expected to do? No, you have the blueprint already. And with SLA, it also improve our reliability and the consistency of service. Consistency of service. It enables for performance measurement as related to the KPI that I mentioned earlier. And it also protects both parties, so that it won't be like, the client is responsible for this. No, when the SLA say, okay, it is the provider that is responsible for this. So it protects the interest of both parties, both the provider and the client and also it ensures legal and regulatory compliance. Regular and regulatory compliance. So this leads us to the third aspect of this lecture, which talks about asset management. We talks about asset management. So I would like to say that asset management generally, it involves the systematic process of what? Of tracking, operating, maintaining, upgrading, and disposing of what? Physical assets physical assets throughout the lifetime. In building maintenance, all our assets, all our assets includes all the facilities that is used in running the building, all the facilities that are used in what? In running the building, in order to ensure what? Optimal performance and cost efficiency across all the life cycle of those assets, such as our HVAC system, our elevator, our electrical panel, our plumbing network, our lighting, our safety equipment, and the structural elements all together. Everything, every facility that makes a building functional, it is what we call asset management under this. It is what we call asset management. And we also have asset life cycle stage. We also have asset life cycle stage. So the first one, we have planning and acquisition. Planning and acquisition. So basically, this has to do with what? Evaluating what we need. It also has to do with selecting the type of equipment that is needed to run this building. You must be able to identify the building. What are the facilities that we need? What are the equipment that we need? How do we select it? Or which one is going to work well for us? Which one is going to require less maintenance? Which one is going to fit perfectly for this kind of building? So we need to plan and acquire such equipment, as the case may be. Then the second one is the operation and maintenance. So because the regular use and the maintenance, it ensures that the building is performing well. If the building is performing well. So we can't shy away from the fact that after all this equipment has been gotten, we need to what? We need to monitor them closely. As they are being used, they should be well maintained. It should be well maintained, and we should have proper knowledge. We should have proper knowledge about each facilities, so that to know how to what to maintain it properly for safety and what efficiency. Then the third one is the condition monitoring. The condition monitoring. This condition monitoring has to do with what? Periodic inspection. Keep checking. Don't wait until one facility break down before you attend to it. Do routine inspection. Check around. See if the generator is working well. See if the lift is working well. See if there is no problem. See if there is no wear and tear. See if there is no efficiency losses. Anywhere you see a potential failure, it is when you conduct a periodic inspection that you take note of this, And also, we have the rehabilitation or replacements. So in a situation whereby you notice anything, what do? This is when, basically, this is when repairs become costly, or when you have a drop in performance. You can now say, okay, let's replace totally. Which shows that this has gone beyond what? This has gone beyond maintenance. We need to upgrade. We need to refurbish. We need to replace with a new one. Or we need to replace with a new system. But in a situation whereby we cannot replace, it shows that if it is something that can be scrapped, if it is something that can be put for sale, it can be disposed, it can be auctioned, so as for us to even get value, so as for us to even what, so as for us to get value for it. So there are some tools for modern asset management. There are some tools we need to get acquainted with. There are some tools we need to get acquainted with. So the first one we'll be considering is the computerized maintenance system. Computerized maintenance system. We know that nowadays every of our engagement has been what? Computerized. So it's not done manually. Well, just a little bit is done manually, but now our management system is being what? Is being computerized through tracking work order, through asset history scheduling, through performance data. They are now being was computerized to ensure that was basically just to digitalize our system, And also we have what we call BIM. So this has to do with the 3D model. 3D model that is embedded with asset data, just to support our planning and maintenance and renovation. Then we also have what we call Internet of a thing, sensors. There are some sensors that are being put in place just to ensure that in case of any, for example, in case of any fire outbreak, it gives a signal, it gives an alarm. If there's in the case of a smoke detector, gives an alarm that, oh, there is something harmful want to what occur here, that needed to be attended to. So what are the benefits of this asset management? Basically, it helps to reduce the downtime. If facilities are well managed, if all the assets, the facilities and the building together makes up an asset, can be well managed, it reduces what? It reduces downtime through what? Proactive maintenance. And more accurate budgeting through the lifespan performance. The performance of an asset will give you a nudge of how to budget. Am I budgeting more? Am I cutting less? Oh, what am I doing? And also it improves safety. For the occupants. It improves safety for the occupants. And the asset management also forms as a basis for your decision form as a basis for your decision, either for improvement, either for basic analysis, either for more or another investment, even for more another investment. And the last one I would like to talk about is lower long-term financial costs. With a good asset management, it lowers what? A long-term a long-term a long-term cost, a long-term cost. So while integrating all these three concepts together, so we can say that asset management helps to what? Help to inform budgets, asset condition informs budget, the asset performance informs what you budget. And also the budget also will determine the kind of service you will also achieve, while the SLA will govern how it is being maintained and delivered. So together with all these three, they create an effective maintenance ecosystem. So can we say that these three works hand in hand? They work together. They are interwoven. You can't be talking about asset management and not talk about budgeting. And you can't be talking about budgeting and not talk about your SLE if you want to have an effective maintenance ecosystem. So as a way to conclude, maintenance budgets, service level agreements, and asset management, they are the critical pillars. They are the critical pillars of what? Of modern building maintenance, as I said earlier, of modern building maintenance. And we can't shy away from the fact that this is expected of us to know. So when mastering all these concepts, it prepares both with the practitioner, the student for what? For a good building performance management. So I hope with everything that we have discussed today, it has given you a general overview of what is expected of you to know as regards to building maintenance services. So thanks for listening, and if you have any question, don't hesitate to drop it, and which will be responded to critically. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.